A common asset as part of the marriage that has to be divided is a business. Whether it's a small business or a share of business or an inherited business, generally just having a business as part of the marital estate can complicate your divorce. What's important is to know what your rights are, what your spouse's rights are when you're doing that division. And in order to know that, you should hire an experienced attorney who's been through that, who's helped people divide businesses, who's helped people sell businesses, and somebody who's been through the process before, as opposed to trying to do this on your own. Businesses can be handled in a number of different ways, and there's a bunch of different ways for you to value the business and determinations of whether it's a premarital business or something that you had before getting married or something that you started during the marriage. If it was started during the marriage, then it's potentially a asset that needs to be divided as part of the marriage. Just because your marriage may have failed, it doesn't mean that your business also has to fail. There are many options available for business owners that are going through divorce, and we'd be happy to discuss those options with you in person. Valuing a business for a divorce settlement can be done in a number of different ways, but one of the most popular ways and easiest ways is to have an appraiser come in. The appraiser will sort of take inventory and assign a value to the business based on your growth revenue, the outstanding assets that you have, your assets, your debts, and the goodwill that you have in the business. And that's a great way for us to at least get a starting point for the negotiations on what the business is actually worth. A great way to protect your business assets on the front end of a marriage is through a prenup. It's important that if you had a business, or if you are a business owner, or you have a share of a business prior to marriage, that this asset can remain yours in the unfortunate event that your marriage fails. The reality is that a great deal of marriages do fail, over 50% at this point, according to the data. So it's important for you to take the steps on the front end to protect your business through a prenup. There's a lot of things that can complicate your divorce. One of those things is a business. So if you can handle all of the issues with how the business will be handled through a prenup on the front end of the marriage, you're going to be in a lot better position than trying to deal with your soon-to-be ex-spouse on the back end of the marriage and fighting about what the value of the business is or what each party is entitled to. So a prenup's a really great way for you to take the business complications out of the equation in the event of a divorce. Nobody goes into business with the intent that it's going to fail. However, the reality is a lot of businesses do fail. Just like a divorce where a marriage is no longer working, oftentimes the business is also suffering. And so when you get divorced, you have to deal with the business debt. There may not be enough assets in the business to cover the debt. In that scenario, we have to look and we have to figure out what the value of the business is compared to whatever the balance sheet is that they owe. Those assets can be divided equitably, but if only one party is responsible for that debt and only one party is the owner of that business, if it was a premarital asset, or if it was just solely this person's own self-dealings, then that person is likely going to be awarded or responsible for that debt once the divorce is over with. But it's important that you have an attorney that's been through this before, that understands how businesses work. I myself am a small business owner with a law firm, so I understand how the assets work. I understand how the debt works. It's important for somebody who's been or is going through this to talk with somebody who has some at least fairly high level knowledge on how these businesses work, how to deal with the assets, how to deal with the debts, not only just from a business perspective, but how the law deals with those as part of the divorce. If you don't talk to somebody who understands these issues, you may be dealing with not only a failed marriage, but a failed business, which could lead to other financial downfalls. If you find yourself on the path to divorce and you're also a business owner, that can be a very complicating scenario. In times like that, you need a trusted and experienced attorney. I implore you to call Husker Law or visit us at huskerlaw.com.